Hello students, let's quickly go through a short summary. In this chapter, we learn about how big empires rose in ancient India, how they were run, and why they were powerful yet fragile. Imagine entering the grand city of Pataliputra. Fortified walls, moats, soldiers, markets full of goods from distant lands. This is not just a kingdom, it's the heart of an empire. An empire is a large territory made up of many smaller kingdoms or regions, all controlled by one powerful ruler, the emperor. Local rulers still govern their areas, but they must pay tribute and obey the emperor. To hold such a huge area together, an empire needs a strong army, a proper administration to collect taxes and maintain law and order, control of trade routes, rivers, forests and mines laws, coins, weights and measures, roads, ports and cities that support trade and communication. To run all this, empires depended heavily on trade. Textiles, spices, gems, agricultural produce and crafts were traded across India and with other regions. Traders and craftspeople formed powerful guilds, shrines, which set their own rules, protected members, and helped business grow. These guilds are an early example of self-organization in Indian society. Among the many early kingdoms, Magadha in the Ganga plains rose fastest. With fertile land, iron ore, elephants, forests, and great river roads, it had everything needed to become a power center. Kings like Ajatashatru strengthened Magadha. The Nanda dynasty expanded it further and used silver coins, but became unpopular due to oppression. At the same time, in the northwest, Alexander the Great arrived from Greece, conquering the Persian Empire and briefly touching the Indian frontier. His campaign did not last long in India, but it opened doors to Indo-Greek cultural contacts. Soon after, Chandragupta Maurya overthrew the Nandas and founded the Maurya Empire around 321 BCE with Pataliputra as its capital. Guided by his advisor, Kautilya Chanakya, he built a powerful empire stretching from the northwestern frontiers to the Deccan. Kautilya's famous work, the Arthashastra, described how a kingdom should function through the Saptanga: the king, ministers, forts and cities, army, territory and people, treasury and allies. His key idea: the king's happiness lies in the happiness of his subjects. The most famous Mauryan ruler was Ashoka, Chandragupta's grandson. After a brutal war in Kalinga, Ashoka was deeply disturbed by the suffering and turned towards peace and dharma. He promoted non-violence and compassion, sent Buddhist missions to other countries, issued edicts on rocks and pillars in Prakrit and Brahmi, urging people to live morally, spoke of caring for humans, animals, nature and all sects under the Mauryas. Cities were well planned, trade flourished, agriculture was protected, and great art and architecture like the Sanchi Stupa and the lion capital of Sarnath, now India's national emblem, were created. Yet, like all empires, the Mauryan Empire eventually declined. Ruling a vast land, managing resources and controlling distant regions was difficult. Empires could bring unity and prosperity, but because they were built through war and control, they were always somewhat unstable and fragile. Thank you for watching. Learn smarter and practice better. Download our app.